Chris Stuckman is not the first YouTuber to make a movie, and certainly won't be the last, but it's the one that I was most familiar with. I first found Chris Stuckman when he did his Dragon Ball Evolution review. And as you know, I'm the Dragon Ball guy, so way back before there was a Geekdom 101, I'm talking about his original Dragon Ball Evolution review. I'm talking about back in like '09. Like, that was a very different time for YouTube. I remember enjoying that particular review, and come to find out, a lot of people found Chris Stuckman because of that. And he's kind of been one of the tippy top, well-known movie reviewers here on YouTube. And he's been talking about Shelby Oaks now for a while. You know, he would promote the project, try to get funding for it. Making a movie is not easy, let me tell you. But I was very interested in checking out Shelby Oaks because the guy, you know, Chris Stuckman, like him or hate him, he sees a lot of movies. He knows movies. He understands movies. So my idea is, okay, what can this guy do behind the camera? You know, and as a YouTuber, you know, my videos on this channel aren't really, like, they're not, like, I don't really put a lot of editing and a lot of filming into these videos because, you know, they're quick sort of like brain dumps. That's what this channel is. My Geekdom 101 channel, though, those videos are usually a bit more edited, at least the really, you know, important ones. And they come off more like little mini documentaries, you know. So the point I'm trying to make is, as a YouTuber, I think everybody feels that they're making some kind of film, even if it's an amateur film. But seeing somebody actually make a movie piqued my interest. So I did go see Shelby Oaks, and I'm going to tell you, it was good. This was a good movie. This felt perfectly in line with a lot of the modern new horror movies that we've seen come out in the past few years. I'm talking about stuff like The Witch. I'm talking about stuff like Hereditary. I'm talking about stuff from David Sandberg. I'm talking about these sort of younger, newer filmmakers putting their touch on the genre as a whole. And even though in a few years we may look back on this film as just a stepping stone for Chris to make bigger movies down the road, which is definitely possible. I mean, David Sandberg, who I just mentioned in Lights Out, I mean, he went from making Lights Out to making Shazam. You just never know who's watching. You never know what kind of connections Chris Stuckman made in the industry. I mean, just him working with Mike Flanagan as the executive producer, that's pretty big for a guy who we've seen come up. So, yes, Shelby Oaks was good, and I can see why Mike Flanagan believed in this script. The movie stars Camille Sullivan, Brendan Sexton III, Sarah Durn, and Keith David. I was actually, my eyebrows went up when I saw Keith David's name in the opening credits. I was like, wow, he got Keith David. That's kind of a legend, you know what I mean? So I can only imagine, you know, how he felt when he got that got. So this movie sort of is an interesting blend of styles, because early in the movie, in the first few minutes, you're thinking it's going to be a found footage film. There's a lot of found footage elements because one of the characters in the story literally found the footage. Like, it's almost like Stuckman was making a movie within a movie, right? Sort of like that thing. But it turns out that it's not a found footage film. It does follow the story of the character Mia trying to find her sister Riley, who disappeared a number of years ago, and she went missing in this abandoned town called Shelby Oaks. And when I first heard that that was the premise, or at least when I first, because I didn't really see many trailers, I went into this not reading up much on the movie because I wanted to, like, you know, I wanted to see it as blind as possible, and I'm sure Chris probably wanted it that way. First thing I thought of was Silent Hill. Like, okay, this is like a Silent Hill type of thing. And there's a lot of, and when I say Silent Hill, I'm talking about the video game, not the movie. And there's a lot of Silent Hill. There is a lot of Silent Hill in this story. Stuckman, obviously, being a student of the craft, learned from the best. Lots of, slow build up, lots of atmosphere. He plays with the audio. He doesn't do all that many jump scares, which I'm sure was probably by design, because I think a lot of people who watch movies have kind of felt that horror films for a while relied maybe a bit too much on those. This felt more atmospheric and creepy. This felt more like you are following Mia on this quest, and half the time I'm watching her do these things like go into an abandoned prison or go, trampling around a weird house that obviously has satanic rituals that obviously looks like it's had some kind of satanic ritual done to it, and just she's very brave, and I would just be like, dude, get out of there, come back during the day. I know she's very very driven to find her sister, but this is one of those movies where you're telling the character, dude, come back during the day, because at night everything is scarier. And there's certainly a lot of very disturbing imagery. Not so much to where I would say, go in with the faint of stomach. I don't know if I would say that, but it's definitely, it gave me vibes of Hereditary, and that's a big compliment, because Hereditary was a movie that literally, I don't get scared in the movie theater. I really don't. When I saw Hereditary, I got up and my feet were shaking. That's how much I love that ending. I'm not going to go into what happens at the end of this movie. I think the best thing for you to do is go into it not knowing anything. Don't know anything. I've tried to keep things as vague as possible in this review. I don't want to tell you what ends up happening to the characters or what the backstory is. There's a lot of, I have questions for Chris, more so about the lore, because I like this kind of stuff. Like I like where he was going with this. You know what I mean? I like this type of supernatural, I guess you can say lore, I guess is the right word. And I saw where he was going, and I think we would have a pretty good conversation talking to each other about this type of stuff, because this was really, really well done. I am really impressed. And this is his first film. He can only get better from here. I do hope that people go see this movie. I really do hope that it does well in the box office. I hope it has good word of mouth, because it is worth seeing. It's a good date movie. It's a good horror film, right along the lines of a lot of the great ones, and it doesn't rely on gimmicks, I don't think. I think it really tries to grab you by the neck and twist it, and I enjoyed it. Like, I really did. You have a group of actors that aren't all that mainstream. Like, this is, I mentioned Keith David, but besides him, like, yes, these actors do have other like films to their resume. I mean, they do, but it's not like The Conjuring when you've got Patrick Wilson and Via Farmiga who are in like everything, but maybe someday these actors will be. Maybe we will see them be recurring actors in multiple upcoming movies. Maybe they'll be back in Chris's next movie. Who knows? If this takes off, it could be a legitimate career for Chris. And I do wish him the best. And I do genuinely, I like this movie, man. This was good. I was going into it like, unlike other quote-unquote YouTubers that make movies, you always kind of look at things like, okay, this is a real movie though. Can they pull it off? And Chris was the one that I think, just listening to his reviews, knowing that he understands, again, no matter how you may feel about his reviews, he watches a lot of movies and he understands them. And that's the most important thing. So anyways, man, those are my thoughts on Shelby Oaks. Go see it. Go check it out when you have a chance. It was good. You don't have to wait for streaming with this one. I think if it's playing in a theater near you, go check it out. Anyways, y'all, take care of yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one.